Good afternoon, Kairos. Well, over to you, Tony.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see you all again. So I will just share my screen and take you through some of the features that, as Chris said, we're currently working to configure and make good for you. So if you just bear with me while I find the right screen. Excuse me, just one moment. I'm sorry, I'm not. Now, can everybody see my screen? Can everybody see Vega loaded?
Yes, Tony.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay, so apologies for the delay. As Chris said, we have an awful lot done, but we have more high-value work to do to bring it all together. Because not only did we pledge, and do we pledge, to make the data easy and accessible to you, but we want your tasks, your work processes to be easy. There's things that computers are really good at. They never forget. If they remind you, that everything from a volunteer anniversary to a birthday to any important date, the computer system, if it's set up in that way, can help you remember those things. It can make it easy for you to communicate to your team if you can find your team. And what we're doing is making it easy for you to find your teams, find your groups, find people that want to receive the newsletter or want to receive an advisory about a course and so on. We're just making sure that we have the data correct for you. And when you come into this home screen, what would you like to do? And generally that's to find somebody. And you type in a first name or a last name, and Chris showed you this, and the list appears dynamically and quickly, and you can just select somebody. Or you can and drill into their record. Or you can use the query tool, which Chris is really proficient at, and Bruce too, in terms of pulling data together in groups. But you have a number of things that you need at your fingertips when you're dealing with people in groups. You need to know what you're going to say, so you need a document. You need who you're going to say it to, and then you need to know when you're going to say it or when is appropriate. And also with Vega, there's the ability to do follow-up, because you can program Vega to say, if somebody responds in this way, if they respond yes, take the next action that will mean that they get followed up and responded to. If they respond no, and we're running out of time, send them a reminder, and you can do that automatically. Or have Vega do that for you automatically through what are called workflows that really start to reduce your workload and mean that we as an organization, if I can say that, we as an organization, and I mean Kairos, never forgets and doesn't miss an opportunity. If somebody registers as a volunteer, registers interest, they can be followed up automatically. Vega can notify everybody in Kairos that's appropriate, but also Vega can respond initially and start a process of engagement to bring people in. If we have, and Chris again showed this, simple queries. Vega has about 150 answers to standard questions. And what we do is we watch you working on the database, and we say, oh, look, lots of people are asking the database, show me everybody who lives in Carnegie in Melbourne, show me everybody who, and we then customize standard queries to make it easy for you to be able to press one button, ideally, to get exactly the data you need. And again, remember I said, we're trying always to get you one click from your data. We're not, you shouldn't have to go down and drill down and drill down. You should get it easily and quickly. Chris also talked about attributes. And I've clicked on a query here, and I'm just going to show you something that I was asked to demonstrate. And if I look here at committee chairs, and all this language will change and can change, but if I look at this and I click go, then the committee's chairs in any region appears effectively immediately. And if I then went and filtered that, I would find, and it's all right, I was asked to resolve this query, but you can see that Rob Hercus is the current committee chair at Parkley. And it's equally easy to find others. But in fact, that took me 3 clicks. And so we're working to try to configure the platform so you can get there in 1 click for those kinds of standard questions. Or show me everybody who is a member of a committee is another simple standard query. Because once you have a group, and that could be all volunteers, or it could be a small group like members of a particular committee or regional members or so on. Once you have a group, you want to communicate to them. And that means you then need to use the other features of Vega in creating documents, in using the query tool potentially, or using a Vega standard query to then transmit that document to those people. And as I said, achieve a follow-up. If there was a question asked earlier about security, and believe me, it's the thing we talk about most as we develop and deliver this platform to you. But the widgets that you see in the website are actually not in the website. First of all, they have their full own encryption envelope. And forgive me if I talk technobabble, but they have their own encryption envelope within the encryption offered by the website. They are instantiated in the moment that they are invoked or viewed. The data that is put in to those widgets goes to a holding structure where it is vetted and cleaned and made sure it is perfectly secure. It is then, after that process is complete, transmitted to Vega and merged and deduped and so on into Vega. And as soon as the record is cleared, a receipt or an acknowledgement is issued. And as I said, you can have follow-ups so that people can receive follow-ups. For instance, what's the first stage if somebody registers interest in being a volunteer? What's the first thing we want to have happen? And is that possible to automate that, or do we want a regional committee member to follow it up manually? Either way is perfectly fine. but I'm just emphasizing the fact that it's a really secure process. So you look at that widget in the website, and it is provided by Vega, but it's not in Vega. And the connection between that widget and Vega is slightly indirect for security reasons. But there is another really wonderful thing about those widgets. If we look at this is a real simple sample widget. And you can add as many or take out fields or anything else. But say you're in calling for nominations for roles in a course, and you send out to your list. You can personalize the landing page of the widget. And that, by the courtesy of that, by making it easy for people, you significantly increase the number of people who'll say, yes, I will do it. It also, just to answer another question, looks great on a phone as well. And increasingly people do most of their interaction on phones. But nevertheless, personalization, acknowledging people. If you see, hello, Chris, thank you for your support, which is just a standard message, it's not the message that you would deliver. But by the time you've absorbed the fact that your name is on that page, you've actually absorbed the page. And you know more or less, your brain is so wonderful at scanning images that it will absorb what is being asked, and it really increases the likelihood that somebody will say yes, because you've taken the time to personalize the page and what you ask them to do. And you can use this to help people keep in touch by updating their details, by registering for events, by acknowledging some other call to action, or obviously by donating funds. And there are event widgets, registration widgets, contact us widgets, donation widgets, a whole range of ways in which Vega can make your dialogues in your website unique to Kairos, but also friendly to people and respectful to people. I was emailed for years by an organization that I had worked for years, and they emailed me Dear A, because Anthony obviously is my initial, A is my initial. Now, I could not get them to change that to Dear Tony, or even Dear Anthony would have done, but Dear Tony would have worked really well. And so taking the time to both personalize and get the personalizations correct is really important in our care and respect for people. So we can personalize everything in Vega, just about. If we look at your document manager, if you go into the admin section or otherwise in Vega and look at documents, I've set up a very simple document, but in Vega, but you can see, or I will show you. Can everybody see that, or is it too small?
It's a bit too small, Tony.
Is it too small?
Yes, Tony, it's too small.
Thank you. Does that help?
It helps. A little bit larger, be even better. Lovely.
Okay. Apologies, everybody. It's the difficulty with remoteness. You can see here that we have these mail merge tags. You can see here that, to me, the most important mail merge tag is #salutation#. Now, what Vega does when it sends that email, it changes that to Tony or Chris or Sarah as appropriate. And getting that right and making sure it's right, we then have this nice communication which contains all our words and has other links if necessary, or has a call to action, would you please register? And when you click on that button, it takes you to a web page in the Kairos website that is personalized to you again and responds to you landing on the page. And just having said that, it reminds me that the page that somebody lands on and fulfills a commitment to you, which is registering for an event, registering interest, and so on, making a donation. When they press submit, it takes them to a second close page that gives you the opportunity to thank the person again. And that page is almost more important than the original donation page, because that's the thank you landing page that allows you to say, read something more about what we do here, or send them to some other place that will be useful in terms of future and further engagement. So you always look for opportunities, and Vega will provide those opportunities for you to further engage people by directing them to read something or offering them the opportunity to do that, and also thanking them. So you now have a document that you are happy with, and you are ready to do something with that. And what you want to do is, in general, is you want to send it to a group. And again, can we see?
Just
okay.
Going a bit larger would be really advantageous, Tony.
Okay.
That's very large, yes.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Is that okay?
That's okay.
So you can see in here in our engage module, thank you, Bruce. You can see here in our engage module, you have groups or logical groupings of like outreach events, things that we're doing like courses, training, other general donations, anything. We logically break them up so that they're easy for us to deal with and easy for us to access. And if we look here at program courses 2022, 2023, no. 2022, we can see here that these are all the 2022 programs that we have migrated, courses we've migrated currently in the database. And if we drill down into any of those, we will see all the participants that have been registered or have registered. So somebody comes into, you invite somebody to register as a volunteer in a course, you send them an email, you give them a button link that allows them to register. They register, they get an acknowledgement, you get a notice that says this event has happened, and then the person is updated in Vega, and that appears in their record and also in the program record or the course record for showing you the participants. And in it's called purchased, but that actually means that RSVP'd, and that's the way it'll be for you. But you also then can do further follow-up communications to the person. You can do, you can monitor uptake and so on, all within Vega. But if I then go back, and is it all right if I use Rob's as a very quick example of attributes?
You to use Chris Fairbank, if you could, please.
I would.
There we go.
So if we look at courses, then we see here that the associated campaign that Chris is related to and the role that he played in that course is reflected here, but that is linked directly to the course setup in the Vega engagement module that allows you to communicate and so on. Now, putting all that together, I know who my attendees are, I know who my registrants are, or I know the people I want to invite to register, and I come back to engage, and I say, I'm going to create an email action. And I'm going to send an email. And I'm sorry if this is all rather too much and too fast for a Saturday afternoon, but because we're covering an awful lot of ground, but I'm trying to give you a flavor. If I want to send from the appropriate email, if I want to send a advisory to all the people that I selected earlier, so I have now added 96 people to my query, and then I select the document that we looked at before, or any document really, just as an example. Now, if I clicked send, which I'm not going to do, obviously, this document would be dispatched and logged to all the people that I have selected. And I can select multiple different lists and multiple different recipient groups to enable me to send. So, but again, I've never had to leave Vega. I don't have to synchronize my data anywhere. I don't have to think other than just follow simple steps to actually reach out and engage. And when we're finished with training and all those things, you will be able to then see how you build engagement forms that people are taken to once they click OK, and then they move from the engagement forms back into the database, and workflows will fire if necessary to then take them onto the next step. And in fact, the whole process of volunteer registration and police vetting and all the other things that go with health and safety and other things for volunteer registration can be done really assisted by technology, and technology that again personalizes and respects the person. It's not mindless. It is focused on the person. So I'm going to pause now because I probably have talked too much, but I'm very open to questions.